in store for them. And so, and I'm going to now jump over to Luke, because you got to understand, each of the Gospels they're recording in how they see it at that time. But sometimes I just like Luke the physician. Sometimes he's very detailed about what he says, except he left that part out. That's okay. We'll be okay with that, because we can go back to Mark and Matthew and realize who he's talking to. Luke 5:36-39 says, "Then he spoke a parable to them. No one puts a piece of new garment on an old one. Otherwise, the new makes a tear. And also the piece that was taken out of the new does not match the old." See, there's a mismatch. You can't put the old and the new together. And no one, in 37 goes on to say, "And no one puts new wine into old wineskins, or else the new wine will burst the wineskins and be spilled. And the wineskins will be ruined. But the new wine must be put into new wineskins, and both are preserved." So this is why I wanted to read Luke, because verse 39 says so much about who we are, this human part of us here. 39 goes on to say, "And no one, having drunk old wine," see, we get used to the old, "immediately desires the new." We don't want the new. We push against the new. We don't want to have that newness. We're so comfortable with the old. He goes on to say, "The old is better." How often does that happen when we are thinking about making a leap to the new? How often does that happen when we're saying the new is not as good as the old? I'm so comfortable in the old that I'm just going to stay right here. You see, that's what Christ was trying to say at that time, is that you cannot move forward and enjoy this freedom that I'm trying to provide to you if you're still stuck in the old ways. See, carrying the past into the newness of your life causes confusion and frustration. When you carry the past into the newness of your life, it will cause confusion and frustration. I'll be honest with you, sometimes it doesn't cause confusion and frustration for just you, but it also causes confusion and frustration for those around you. See, the confusion sometimes, let's speak from the ones that have accepted and are Christians. Let's speak to the fact that when you see someone who says that I'm a born-again Christian and I believe, and then you see them trying to cling on to some of the old things, that person can't see the newness. All they see is the old in you. And you're trying to tell them all the time, "I'm changed, I'm a new creation." Yet they see just the old times. But God is saying, press on and praise me anyway. Allow him to show you that better way. Allow him to reposition you so that you can become that new creation and enjoy the new life for you. See, what happens here, can you press that next button, please? What happens here is I'm going to give you the consequences of just remaining. The consequences of just remaining, one of them is unable to fulfill God's desire for you. See, when you don't move forward and you just keep staying where you are, you're unable to fulfill God's desire for you. And then you have difficulties serving him because you're looking back. You're looking back and you're saying, I don't know. As I was saying yesterday to the guys there yesterday, I said, sometimes when people are looking backwards and they're in the midst of it, they have difficulty saying, "Lord, thank you for what you've done." They have difficulty serving our Father. It's because they've remained stagnant. They have not been able to move forward, and so they have that stench of everything that's just bad all over them. One of the other things, this is just 3 examples, but I'm sure you can think of many more yourselves, but unable to understand God's word for you. Do you understand that there's so many Christians out there that they still do not understand God's word? I'll never forget the story of a lady who was in her 70s, and she says, she said, she was asked, do you believe that you're going to go to heaven? And the lady says, I don't know. I don't know. And then you get to thinking, well, she's been faithfully serving, faithfully coming to the church for years after years after years, and yet she didn't know. So the question was, why are you coming? Why are you coming? I want to get close to God. Well, close to God doesn't necessarily mean within these walls. We're here to help you. You can sit on the chair, you can learn, you can soak it all in, but you've got to move towards him. You can't remain stagnant. You've got to open up yourself to let him in fully. So he's giving you himself there, but you've got to open up the rest of yourself to him. Remember another lesson some time ago where they're saying, one of the lessons was, we drew a house. And in that house, they said, well, where are you going to place Christ? And I said, well, I got a room for him right here. What's the matter with the entire house? Give him your whole self. Your whole self. I know that sounds just kind of hard, maybe a little difficult. But see, when you trust in him, it gets easier and easier. You just give him your entire self, your entire being. One of the other things is you're unable to be a vital part of the Great Commission. You can't show others his love for them because you're hindered by your inability to move. You can't be a part of the Great Commission when you're stuck. See, that Great Commission, that's a movement. That's a movement. He's called us. He's called us to all nations. That's a movement. So you got to move in order to fulfill these things. See, those are just 3 examples of just what happens when you are just remaining stagnant and not able to move forward. I've never been, but I sure want to do that one day. I want to go out to the Universal Studios, Florida. One of my best trips I ever want to take. I've never done it yet. That's something greater than some of the things that I've seen. I've been to Universal Studios, California. Yeah, I love it. It was great. But Florida, I understand, is a lot better. So why would I be looking back to the past? I want to go to the future. It's the same as what we should all be striving for. Go to the future. The same as sometimes in a relationship. We've already been there. We've been there, done that. Been at this job, been in this relationship, been around these people, these folks. It's time to move on. It's time to gain something that we don't have right now. So we got to leave that in the past. And we got to move forward. Let those folks get off at that, what do they call it, a stopover, a layover. Let those folks get off. Let them go where they're going to go. But you have got to move forward. You have got to go to Universal. No, I'm just kidding. You have got to go to our Father. You've got to enjoy what he has for you, what he has in store for you. And as I close here, I just want to say, don't let his fight for you be in vain. Don't let his fight for you be in vain. Fight just as hard as you can for him. Fight just as hard as you can for yourself. Don't let you stay in the same earthly state. Leave that baggage behind. Move on.